It is the secret conversation that happened behind the heavy oak doors of Clarence's house, a desperate plea from a terrified wife to her husband, the king. We often see Queen Camilla as the stoic figure, the woman who smiles through the rain, the rock of the monarchy. But today, the curtain has been pulled back to reveal the raw human fear that gripped the queen when the diagnosis first landed like a bomb in the royal household. We now know the truth. Camilla didn't want you to know. She didn't want the world to know. In a moment of protective instinct, she urged King Charles to keep his cancer battle a secret, to lock the files, and to suffer in silence. Why? Because she feared that the vultures would circle. She feared that the relentless scrutiny of the media and the public would shatter his recovery. She wanted to shield the man she loves from the glare of the world while he fought for his life. But Charles, in a move of supreme bravery that defines his reign, overruled her, and thank God he did. Because that decision has just triggered a phenomenon that is literally saving thousands of lives across the United Kingdom. Welcome back to the channel, the only place where we dig deep into the untold stories of the palace and expose the reality of what it takes to wear the crown. If you stand with King Charles and Queen Camilla, and if you believe that their transparency is a weapon against disease, smash that subscribe button right now. We have a heart-wrenching and triumphant story to tell today, one that involves a scared queen, a brave king, and a princess who is walking the same path of survival. The Sunday Times has dropped a bombshell revelation regarding the early days of the king's cancer battle. We all remember the shockwaves when the announcement was made nearly 2 years ago. It felt like the ground was shifting beneath our feet. But what we didn't know was the agonizing debate that took place before that press release was issued. The report reveals that Queen Camilla originally advised against her husband sharing his diagnosis. She wanted to protect him. Think about the context here. Camilla has lived through the worst media storms in history. She knows what it is like to be hunted, analyzed, and criticized. Her instinct was not that of a queen consort thinking about PR. It was the instinct of a wife thinking about her husband's stress levels. She feared that if the world knew the king was vulnerable, the pressure would be unbearable. She worried that every public engagement would become a death watch, that every wrinkle or pale complexion would be dissected on the evening news. She wanted him to be treated quietly, privately, with dignity. It is a sentiment any spouse can understand. When your partner is sick, you want to wrap them in cotton wool. You want to close the curtains and shut out the noise, but Charles took a different view. He took the view of the sovereign. He realized that his illness was not just his own, it was a platform. He realized that by hiding, he would only fuel conspiracy theories, the kind we saw explode around Princess Catherine before she revealed her own diagnosis. He chose transparency. He chose vulnerability. And the result? It is nothing short of miraculous. The report continues that both the king and queen now unequivocally think that being so open has been hugely positive. And they have the numbers to prove it. Just days ago, King Charles spoke to the nation in a deeply personal broadcast for the Stand Up to Cancer campaign. He confirmed the incredible news that his doctors have advised he can scale back his treatments in the coming year. This is the victory we have been praying for. After nearly 2 years of fighting an unspecified form of cancer, the tide is turning. The king credited early detection for this positive news. But here is the statistic that will blow your mind. In the 24 hours following the king's speech, over 100,000 people accessed the Stand Up to Cancer webpage offering advice on getting checks. 100,000 people. Let's put that into perspective. That is a stadium full of people. That is a small city. Because the king sat in the morning room at Clarence's house and spoke honestly about his mortality, 100,000 people took a step to save their own lives. This is the King Charles effect. It mirrors what happened in January 2024, when he announced his enlarged prostate treatment and the NHS saw 11 times the usual number of visitors. This is the power of the monarchy. This is what service looks like. It isn't about Netflix documentaries. It isn't about selling jam. It isn't about complaining that your brother pushed you into a dog bowl. It is about using your pain, your fear, and your platform to lift up the nation. While Prince Harry is arguably in Montecito planning his next grievance, King Charles is literally driving a public health revolution. Camilla, despite her initial fears, has been the ultimate supporter of this strategy. She has watched the outpouring of love from the public. She has seen the cards, the flowers, the well-wishers lining the streets. She has realized that the British people don't see the king's illness as a weakness. They see it as a shared battle. It has humanized him in a way that 70 years of Prince of Wales training never could. The king is one of us. He faces the same fears, the same treatments, the same uncertainties. And this positive news comes at a time when the royal family desperately needed a win. We cannot forget that while Charles was fighting, his beloved daughter-in-law, the Princess of Wales, was fighting her own war. Earlier this year, Catherine confirmed she was in remission after months of preventative chemotherapy. The resilience of the Wales family has been awe-inspiring. And just hours after the king's speech, we saw Catherine step out in a moment of pure, poignant beauty. She visited the Ever After Garden in Chelsea. This garden is a sanctuary where people can dedicate roses to loved ones and remember those affected by cancer. It has raised over £1.6 million since 2019. The Princess of Wales, looking radiant and strong, dedicated her own rose in the garden. The symbolism of that moment is overwhelming. Here you have the future queen, a cancer survivor herself, planting a symbol of hope. She isn't hiding. She isn't retreating. She is standing shoulder to shoulder with her father-in-law. It is a visual representation of the strength of the House of Windsor. They have been battered by health crises, they have been battered by the betrayal of the Sussexes, but they are still standing, and they are blooming like those roses. The report about Camilla's hesitation humanizes her deeply. It shows that she isn't a robot. She was terrified. And frankly, she had every right to be. The media scrutiny on the royals is intense, but the fact that she can now admit she was wrong, that she can look at the 100,000 people seeking help and say, this was the right thing to do, shows her growth as a queen. She has learned that the crown is heavy, but it can also be a beacon. We also have to look at the contrast. I know we talk about the Sussexes a lot, but in moments like this, the difference in values is glaring. Harry and Meghan preach about compassion and healing. They release statements about online safety in Australia. But when it comes to the actual gritty, painful work of dealing with life-threatening illness, they are nowhere to be found. King Charles didn't do a sit-down interview with Oprah to talk about his cancer truth. He didn't sell the rights to his recovery story. He spoke directly to the people through a charity to save lives. He didn't make it about him, he made it about us. He urged everyone to get checked. He turned the camera outward. Meghan, meanwhile, announces a documentary about Girl Scout cookies hours before his speech. The pettiness is staggering. The king is dealing with life and death. The Sussexes are dealing with snacks and ego. The 100,000 people who clicked that link didn't do it because of celebrity. They did it because they trust the king. They saw a man in his 70s, working through his treatment, refusing to stop serving, and they thought, if he can do it, I can do it. That is leadership. Buckingham Palace has still not revealed what kind of cancer the king is being treated for, other than clarifying it wasn't prostate cancer, and that is fine. He is entitled to that shred of medical privacy. But the fact that he has shared the journey, the recovery, and the optimism is what matters. The news that he can reduce his treatments is the best Christmas present the nation could ask for. It means the doctors are confident. It means the early detection worked. It validates everything the king has been saying. It means we will see more of him in 2026. We will see him on tours. We will see him at the garden parties. The king is back. And let's give credit to Camilla. She has carried the burden of the monarchy almost single-handedly for months, while Charles and Kate were out of action. She was the face of the firm. She did the engagements. She kept the show on the road. And she did it all while harboring this secret terror that the scrutiny would hurt her husband. That is a woman of substance. That is a woman who loves her man more than she loves her title. The poisonous showdown rumors we heard about earlier, about Camilla and Kate clashing over Harry, seem to fade into the background when you look at the real issues. When you are dealing with cancer, who cares about a wayward prince in California? The bond between Charles, Camilla, and Kate has been forged in the fire of these health battles. They are a trench team. They have faced mortality together, so when you see the king smiling in those new photos, remember what it took to get there. Remember the fear Camilla felt. Remember the courage Charles showed in overruling her. And remember the 100,000 people who might just catch a disease in time because their king spoke up. This is why the monarchy matters. It isn't just about tourism or history. It is about a shared national life. When the king suffers, the nation worries. When the king recovers, the nation cheers. And when the king speaks, the nation listens. We are witnessing a golden age of royal resilience. The shadows are lifting, the king is reducing his treatment, the princess is in remission, and the queen is standing guard, the fiercely protective wife who learned that sometimes letting the light in is the best medicine of all. I want to know what you think about Camilla's initial fear. Was she right to want to protect him from the public eye? Or was Charles right to open up? And how does it make you feel knowing that his speech prompted 100,000 people to check their health? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one of them. This is a story of hope, and I want to share it with as many of you as possible. Hit that like button to send your well wishes to the King and Kate, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the truth about the royal family. Until next time, keep your eyes on the palace.